The next step in the project is to start coloring. You're getting graded on two things for the coloring part of the project. One will be the quality of your blending. So how nice and smooth the blending looks here. This is why that ribbon worksheet was so important, is to practice applying pressure, how hard you're pressing, and to be able to get a nice smooth gradient. And the second thing you're getting graded on is the ability to show the outline of your design without actually using a Sharpie. Now, granted, you could use a Sharpie, but even if you do use a Sharpie, you still have to be careful about what colors you're putting next to each other. For example, here, this outline is very noticeable because I have something very dark next to something very light. In other areas where I might have dark next to dark, you can't really see that outline as well. So sometimes that's kind of difficult to plan and difficult to avoid in some small areas, but overall, when you look at the entire picture, you can very clearly see where my outlines are, even though there's not actually an outline. There is no black outline here. It's simply shown by the contrast between the colors that I'm using. Okay, so that's the second really important thing you're getting graded on. What colors you pick are completely up to you. So it can all be warm, it can all be cool, it can be just all the colors that you have and find different combinations to blend, or you can do the whole thing monochromatic. You could do this whole project with a single color pencil. All right, but I'm going to show you how I would do something like this. I tend to like the really high contrast shading with the black and then into another color. So I'll show you how I do that on this one. First, I need to plan out what colors I want to use. I'm thinking, since I have some of these like outlines, it might be kind of cool if I use two different colors, maybe complementary colors. So either like a yellow purple, or maybe blue and orange are also complementary colors, or red and green are complementary colors as well. I think I like the blue and orange. I think the red and green might look a little too much like Christmas. Plus, this almost reminds me of a snowflake, so I think it'll end up looking too Christmassy. So I'm going to go ahead and do this combination, but I like to have different shades of the same colors in order to get like this nice gradient and variety from really dark to really, really light. So I'm going to get out multiple blues, and I have a really dark blue. I will also use black. Actually, I like to use black for the shadows for this. And then let me see if I have, I'm not going to go too light with the blue, but I'll have, I don't know, I think this might be good. I'll have this one just in case, but I don't know if I want to use that yet. And then I'm going to get a few different yellows out and oranges to get a little bit of a gradient there too. So maybe something like that. You might not have all of these different shades. I'm using the color pencils we normally use in class if we were at Lincoln face-to-face, and it's a set of 32. But again, you could theoretically do this whole project with a single color pencil. I showed you guys that example in the PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm thinking I'll make these bigger areas blue, and I'll make these outline areas the orangey shade. Okay, and I don't think you can decide if you want to keep the original diagonal lines. Some of them I want to keep, some of them I don't. I like them in here, but I don't think I want to keep the line in the middle. So I'm going to erase the areas where I don't want to see that line. Okay, and just erase it anywhere you don't want to see it, but I'm going to work on this area right now. So first thing, I'm going to make this area all shades of blue. So I have my blues ready to go, and I'm going to start with the darkest color, just like that ribbon worksheet. So start with my darkest color. It's going to be really dark at the bottom, and I'm going to start by making sure the edge of this star is nice and crisp and outlined in black, and then I'm going to fade it out. I'm not going to leave the outline, but I'm going to kind of fade the black out from that outline. So I'm starting heavy, I press pretty hard, and then I'm immediately going to start going lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And you can control what direction you're shading. So I could kind of shade in a rounded direction. I can shade directly up and down, left to right. Think about what direction of shading would make sense for your project. For mine, I think I kind of, since this is curvy, I'm going bottom to top, but sort of also making sure the edges are kind of dark so that there's a lot of contrast between the blue and the yellow and the orange. Okay, so I would do the same thing on this side and fade that up. Now think about what the pattern was when we did that ribbon worksheet, what the next step should be, okay? And if you're thinking, Miss Zabrimovich put the blue on top of the black, then you would be correct. I just have to make sure I blend this black out so that there's no harsh lines. So circular oval motion. Get it really soft. I'm pulling the edges up on purpose. So I'm shading in the direction that I think would make the most sense. By making the edges a little bit darker, it's gonna kind of appear a little more three-dimensional and round, but that's up to you. Okay, now is my navy blue, the really, really dark blue. I'm going right on top of this black, like directly on top of it, and just pressing really hard to fill in any white spots that the black did not fill in. Filling in all the black. And once I have most of it filled in like this, now I have to start not pressing so hard so this line goes away. I don't want that line to show. So now that I've covered up most of the black, I'm going to start going lighter and lighter. Same thing on this side. Pressing really hard. I covered up the black. Now I have to go lighter and lighter so this line goes away. You have to get a nice smooth gradient. So really the number one thing you're practicing when you're doing all this shading is pressure. Pressure is the most important thing when using color pencils. When to press harder, when to press lighter. Okay, go to my next shade, which is this one, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna speed up the video now so you can see what this would look like finished, but I'm gonna keep layering on top. I'm gonna put this blue all on top of the black and the dark blue. Same process. And then go lighter, lighter, lighter. Okay, so I just decided to get out even more blues, and I'm going to use this white on the very top just to kind of make the blue look soft, even though it's not actually adding any color. You can use, if yours looks a little bit streaky, the white can sometimes help make things look a little more blended. So you can always take a white and go on top of what you just did to make it look softer. Okay, now I want there to be a lot of contrast. So when I do my orange now, around the outline, part of my grade is to make sure that this outline is really, really noticeable, even if I'm not using any Sharpie. So I'm actually gonna flip it. I'm not gonna do the black here. I'm gonna start the black here and then go lighter as I go down. So I'm still using black, even though I'm using these oranges, but I think I might need a color in between these. I'm not sure how it will look with just the orange. Maybe a brown would work. Okay, I'll see. This is a maybe. I'm not sure if I want to use that or not, but I will definitely start with some black up top. Okay, making sure those outlines are noticeable. And then I'm not going to do too much black because I want it to look light by the time it gets here. So I'm going to start going lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter like that. So see how like now this blue is really, really standing out a lot because it's right next to something very, very dark. Okay, I'm going to go lighter, lighter, lighter like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the orange and see how it looks. If I don't like it, I can use the brown as well. This might not be too bad. I think I like it. I can just stick with the orange. I'm not going to do the brown. The orange looks nice and bright. Stay inside the lines as much as possible. So I've covered up the black, and again, control your pressure. Go in the little ovals and go lighter, 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 lighter. And so now where there's the medium tone here, I have sort of a light yellowish orange. And as I get all the way down to where the black is here, I'm gonna have a bright yellow. So I have the maximum amount of contrast right there. I'm using this orangey yellow on top of everything just to fill in any spots I might have missed. And there you go. There's no Sharpie outlines, but this outline is very, very clear based on where I decided to put my light, medium, and dark values. Good luck.